Welcome to A Century of Cinema. Today I will be exploring my favourite films of 1982. First up, Richard Attenborough's Gandhi, starring Ben Kingsley as Gandhi. The film traces his life from his time as a young lawyer in South Africa to his efforts toward forging an India free from British rule and to his assassination at the age of 78, which is how the film is bookended. Attenborough had been attempting to make a film about Gandhi for decades, and the end result is a massive epic which was nominated for 11 Oscars, winning 8, including Best Picture, Director, Screenplay and Actor. It's basically the king of the biopic. The funeral scene contained a record number of extras, over 300,000 in fact. It is a massive undertaking and handled beautifully by Attenborough, with an engaging script by John Brierley, stunning, also Oscar-winning cinematography by Billy Williams and Ronnie Taylor, immaculate period costumes by John Mollo and Banu Athaya, another Oscar there, and an extremely impressive cast. The standouts without doubt being Kingsley, Roshan Seth as Jawaharlal Nehru, and Rohini Hattangadi as Gandhi's wife, Kasturba. But you also have some great work from the likes of Martin Sheen, Candice Bergen, Geraldine James, John Mills, and Edward Fox, plus an early role for Daniel Day-Lewis as a South African street punk. But it is Ben Kingsley in his breakout role which shines the brightest. He expertly takes Gandhi from a young, idealistic, button-down lawyer to the robed, peace-loving revolutionary we all know. Note perfect at all times, whether he is passionately advocating non-violent revolution, disarming others with his gentle humour, or near death from fasting. It is subtle and powerful, much like Gandhi himself. So Ben Kingsley is my choice for Best Actor of 1982.
I am a Muslim, and a Hindu, and a Christian, and a Jew, and so are all of you.
E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial, directed by Steven Spielberg, stars Henry Thomas as 10-year-old Elliot, who meets an alien who has been accidentally left on Earth. E.T. constructs a machine that will help him, as he famously says, phone home, and all the while he is being pursued by government agents. E.T. and Elliot form a bond which extends to a literal emotional connection between them, so that Elliot actually feels what E.T. does. This results in hilarity, such as when E.T. and consequently Elliot get a bit drunk while Elliot is at school, or an emotional gut punch when E.T. and Elliot become gravely ill. But he gets better, and he gets picked up and taken home by his buddies. But why am I telling you this? It's E.T. for Christ's sakes. Didn't we all watch this when we were kids? And it is universally acclaimed as one of the greats, and probably the best family film ever made. I mean, it pretty much nails every aspect of its production. Melissa Matheson's screenplay, inspired by Spielberg's childhood imaginary friend, makes not only a great family film, it is also pretty damn good science fiction, and a top-notch tear-jerking drama. And it is brought to life masterfully by Spielberg and his merry band of dreamweavers. Once again, John Williams manages to completely nail it, delivering a beautiful, moving, and extremely memorable Oscar-winning score, well up there with his best. Carlo Rambaldi's design for E.T. himself hits just the right balance of cute and otherworldly. Alan Daviau's cinematography is riddled with gorgeous, timeless shots which give this film a kind of ethereal beauty, and complements the performances, of which the most prominent ones are those of children. Drew Barrymore makes her first indelible mark on cinema history as Elliot's little sister Gertie. You knew immediately she was going to be a star. But you know immediately about Henry Thomas that he is an actor, and a damn fine one. His Elliot is one of the all-time greatest performances by a child actor, and I came pretty close to giving him my Best Actor nod. However, for the first time, and most likely not the last, Best Director most assuredly goes to Steven Spielberg for pulling it all together and crafting a heartwarming, timeless piece of cinema. Sophie's Choice, based on William Styron's novel, stars Meryl Streep as Sophie, a Polish woman who was once imprisoned at Auschwitz. A young writer named Stingo, Peter McNichol, moves in downstairs from her and her unstable boyfriend Nathan, Kevin Kline. Despite a rocky beginning when Stingo first witnesses Nathan and Sophie's tumultuous relationship, the three become very close, and we gradually learn the story behind Sophie's time at Auschwitz, and the heart-wrenching choice she was forced to make. This is a genuinely incredible film, faithfully and masterfully adapted by director and screenwriter Alan J. Pakula. His script does not shy away from delving deep into the characters, allowing the actors to utterly inhabit their roles, which they all do in spectacular ways. Peter MacNicol as Stingo, in only his second feature film, is largely the observer of the piece, but he imbues the character with tenderness and sensitivity and perfectly conveys the emotional journey of Stingo. Kevin Kline, in his first feature film, absolutely kills it as Nathan. When he is high, he is impossibly charming and positively incandescent. But when he is low, the darkness Kline presents, the jealousy, the pain, the vitriol, is devastating. But this film belongs to Meryl Streep. In quite possibly the most lauded film career ever, this still ranks as a highlight. The highlight for me, in fact. Her work as Sophie is what I consider to be one of the greatest film performances ever. Every frame she appears in is a masterclass of acting. I can't even pin down a few aspects of why it is so good, because everything about it is flawless. Streep literally begged for this part. She must have at least had an inkling of just how good she would be. She won her second Oscar for Sophie's Choice, her first as a lead, and the film was also nominated for Albert Wolsky's extremely authentic costumes, Marvin Hamlish's moving score, Nestor Almendros' subtly beautiful cinematography, Pakula's immaculate screenplay, and Best Picture. The amazing thing about Sophie's Choice is just how easy it is to watch. It should be quite a slog, with a 2.5-hour runtime and unbearably heavy subjects like concentration camps, mental illness, and of course, that impossible choice. But the script is so witty and emotionally resonant, and the characters are so engaging, that you are swept up by the story, much like Stingo is swept up by Sophie and Nathan. Sophie's Choice is my choice for Best Adapted Screenplay, and Meryl Streep is very clearly my choice for Best Actress.
I kept repeating to myself, I have saved my son. I have saved my son. Tomorrow I can see him. And I can tell him goodbye.
Finally, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. In a big screen sequel to the original series episode Space Seed, see Star Trek Selections for more on that, the genetically engineered tyrant Khan Noonien Singh is accidentally found on the planet where Kirk exiled him 15 years earlier, by the starship Reliant, where Walter Koenig's Chekhov is the first officer. Khan takes control of Reliant and proceeds to hunt for Kirk and the all-powerful terraforming device known as Genesis. Admiral James T. Kirk, William Shatner, is back on the Enterprise to oversee a training cruise, but when Genesis creator Carol Marcus contacts him, he takes command and heads to her location, leading him straight to Khan. This is not only one of, if not the best Star Trek films, it is also one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made. It retains the essence of what made the show great, the characters, the adventure, the philosophy, but places it on a grand canvas and ramps up the intensity. Director Nicholas Meyer takes the Star Trek DNA and mixes in some extra nautical flavour, making it feel like a submarine movie at times, and a damn fine one at that. The screenplay by Jack B. Sowards, with help from Harve Bennett and an uncredited Nicholas Meyer, beautifully explores the themes of aging, death, and most importantly, friendship, particularly that of Kirk and Spock. Leonard Nimoy's best work as the iconic half-Vulcan science officer, culminating in my favourite death scene in all of cinema, and one of the most beautiful scenes ever filmed.
I have been, and always shall be, your friend.
And the rest of the cast aren't too shabby either. George Takei's Sulu and Nichelle Nichols' Uhura unfortunately don't get a lot to do, but James Doohan's Scotty has a couple of very well-played scenes, as does Koenig's Chekhov. And DeForest Kelley always delivers as Bones. He is vital to the heart and humour of the original Star Trek. And when it comes to guest stars, the absolute standout is Ricardo Montalban as Khan. Menacing, rage-filled, and perfectly larger than life. He is the ideal Star Trek antagonist. But for me, the film still belongs to Nimoy. This would of course not be the last time we see Spock in Star Trek. Far from it, actually. However, his death in this film is beautifully performed and masterfully written. The crowning glory of an excellent screenplay, my choice for Best Original Screenplay of the Year, and Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan is my best picture of 1982. Join me next time on A Century of Cinema when I will be discussing my favourite films of 1983.
Live long and prosper.